What is the law? Not to spill blood. I can't help but thinking about Bela Lugosi when I think about the Island of Dr. Moreau. My first venture into this story is not one that I'm really proud of. See, I had become a big fan of Val Kilmer. Some of his movies like Top Gun and then Tombstone made sense. Even Thunderheart I thought was pretty good as well. But when I found out that there was going to be a movie called The Island of Dr. Moreau starring Val Kilmer and the great one, Marlon Brando, I couldn't resist. So a buddy of mine and I went down to the theater opening night and we watched what we both thought was a very disappointing movie. Now, I had known nothing of this story going into that theater that day in the 90s. I don't remember what year it was. But years later, I read a book. It was an F. Paul Wilson book, and he was a repairman Jack as the character. I think it was called All the Rage, and he kept quoting lines from The Island of Lost Souls, which is essentially the same story. It's just the 1930s starring Marlon Brando. It has Bela Lugosi as the sayer of the law. And after reading that book, I decided I needed to go watch that movie, and I fell in love. And for me, that was definitive. And it was good enough. And I'd also seen the 70s movie, whichever one that was, and it was all right. But it was a while later. I don't know. It was a while later after that when I finally got around to reading the H.G. Wells novel, The Island of Dr. Moreau. And I loved it. And what I found was I actually had now 4 stories. 4 stories, all different, all had goods and bads. And the Val Kilmer Brando movie, even though I still don't like it, it's one that every now and then I need to watch because it did have some good things and a lot of bad things too. But that being said, I'm now a fan of the book, fan of H.G. Wells. The Time Machine is still probably one of my very favorite books. I got a lot of very favorite books. But as a book collector, I have multiple different versions of The Island of Dr. Moreau. I've got the Suntup editions, numbered edition in here somewhere. The Island of Dr. Moreau. I've also got the Suntup editions, artist edition. I've got an Easton Press edition. I've got some soft cover editions here, some pretty cool looking soft cover versions of The Island of Dr. Moreau that I just keep because I like the cover artwork. And this one, I don't know, I just kept it because I found it and I got it. But I really, really like this book. And one thing I know is that there's a disease that can be best described as a person who collects multiple copies of the same book. It don't make sense, but yet it does. And here we go. I have jumped in to another edition of the same daggone book. Now this one, somebody brought it to my attention, I want to say 2-3 years ago. I can't remember. It's been a little while now. Somebody brought it to my attention, and I was looking at the Beehive Books website thinking I'm going to order that book. And I kept thinking that, and I kept thinking that, and then I never did. And then somehow, it was gone. I forgot all about it. Completely forgot. But there's a fella on YouTube by the name of The Wandering Zoop. Something like that. Pretty cool dude, at least on his videos. Anyway, I don't know anything about the guy. But I dig his videos. He does unboxings and different things. And he got this, and he was showing a video of it. And I said, holy cow, I forgot all about it. So I went just Googled it. And I found that they had a very great discount on Amazon. I think it was $55. The website for these guys still has it at $100. So I put it in my Amazon cart. And then today, as I'm speaking, is Easter. Well, my wife, the nice lady that she is, even though I kind of look at Easter as a time that worry about kids and kids have fun and maybe kids get a few cool things too, she went and got me an Easter gift. And this was what it was. It was a surprise. A box came in the mail a couple days ago. She said, don't open it. That's mine. Sure enough, it was her purchase for me, but here it is. And I want to show you a little bit about it. It came in an Amazon box with very little cushioning. And so this outer box that the company ships it in did take a little bit of a hit there. But It's a shame, but in reality, this box here will probably go in a closet. I don't display boxes. It's hard enough to display books sometimes. Let me open this outer box up and show you what came in here. And in here is what the doctor ordered. It is a 9x12 huge book, too tall for my shelf. So when you get books like this, I got to get creative. I've got a few, and I've got to find places to put them. But a day in the life. A day in the life. Anyway, I'm excited to have this one because it looks so good, and it's still shrink wrapped. So I got to get that baby out. Some folks will keep their stuff sealed forever and ever, and I don't do that. The internet will tell you all sorts of reasons why that's bad, and I'll let them tell you that stuff. Not my job, and I don't really worry about what you do with your stuff, but I'll take it out and I'll look at it. In fact, now is as good a time as ever to take it out. So it's what I'm gonna do here. Got my sharp instrument, and one of the things that I've noticed is some people really worry about this part of the job. You got a sharp knife, and it's so close to your precious collector's edition, and you want to keep it so perfect and minty fresh. You want no accidents to happen. But I never really have any cares. It never really bothers me because I've got a flawless method, a technique that I always use, and it's never ever failed me. And I'm going to go ahead, because you're my friends, I'm going to go ahead and clue you in on my flawless method. That method is simple but effective. You cut the plastic, not the book. There you go. That's my secret, and it works every time. But anyway, I've cut the plastic and not the book. And now let's see. So looking at this slipcase, I love slipcases. To me, a slipcase just makes it. But looking at the design, this, I want to say hot foil, and part of it is embossed. Part of it, I guess, part of it sticks up. Part of it is embossed, pressed in. So it's really neat. And then there is a die cut window, which looks like at first glance is done very well. But looking at the design on this slipcase, I really like it. And it wraps all the way around the back and then on the other side. So there's a lot of you out there that like to put your books on the shelf the wrong way. You like to have the spine of the slipcase facing outward to help protect the spine of your book from all sorts of stuff. Well, this one will look good on the shelf, but you're not going to know what the book is just by looking at it. There's no title or anything, but it still looks cool for you. And then this is what you're going to see on my shelf, what it's going to look like here. We have it in very small, the Island of Doctor Moreau, very small there. And then we have some art, and it says Wells and BB. So that's what the spine looks like. And Bill Sienkiewicz is the artist, and I've heard of him from DC. I'm not a big comic collector, but DC Comics, Marvel Comics, his name's out there. And I'm sure some of you may be fans, I don't know. But anyway, I love artwork, and he is the artist chosen for this particular edition. And man, it looks good. I love the cover of this book, this cover artwork. And Bill Sienkiewicz is described as an abstract and an expressionist artist. And I honestly don't even know what that kind of stuff means. I just know when I look at pictures, if I like them or not. And I like the picture on the front of this book so far. So what I want to do now, got plastic stuck to my bare foot. You didn't know it's barefooted, did you? Florida boy's barefooted. But anyway, what I want to do now is open this thing up, take a look, and see what's inside. So we have a very large book with cool end papers. Take a look there. It's not just stuff. The spine itself, the binding, it is a quality sewn binding, if you can see on the video screen, on the video scope. And I love sewn bindings. To me, it's quality. When it's not there, it feels a little bit less than. And I'm going to show you what I can find in here. I don't know how much art is in this book. I got a feeling there's a lot. And I'm not going to stand here for an hour showing you everything, but I will show you some things included. So, a big fan of H.G. Wells, a big fan of the Island of Doctor Moreau, and I felt like this was something that I needed. And So I got it. A good thanks to the wife, the missus. She hooked the brother up, and it turned out to be a happy Easter for all of us. But I'm gonna look through here and see what kind of artwork I can find. This just looks like the cover art there. So I'm not skipping things. I'm not leaving things out on purpose. Not leaving you out. But I'm not gonna show every little detail, because as it seems, practically every page has some work. But that looks cool. That looks cool, and we're already starting to get some of the story in here. If you haven't read this book, it is one that I do strongly recommend. Like I said, I'm a big H.G. Wells fan. I tell you, you should read The Time Machine. You should read The Island of Doctor Moreau. You should read The War of the Worlds. Now, I was a huge fan of The Invisible Man, the movie, the original James Whale film. But I didn't love the H.G. Wells novel, The Invisible Man. I don't know. Maybe it was just me. Maybe I should give it another shot. But anyway, still a big fan of the author. And The Island of Dr. Moreau was one that, whether you loved The Island of Lost Souls, the original movie, or you hated the other movies, or you never saw one or more of them, it doesn't matter. It's a very good book. And it's very different. So you may be a fan. You may have seen a movie over and over and over again. But when you read the book, in this case, you're not going to know what's going to happen next. You're not going to know how the book's going to end. You're not going to know anything. You're going to know very little, actually. It'll feel familiar for a little while, and then it'll start to become unfamiliar. But a great book. I do strongly recommend it. I guess it's big cross genres between science fiction, between horror. I've heard people describe it as squarely in the horror genre, and I don't. I think it's a tweener. It's a tweener on sci-fi, tweener on horror, but a great story nonetheless. And a lot of folks also talk about the cautionary tales involved, and I'll leave that kind of stuff to them. I'll leave it to you. You figure it out. It is what it is to you. But man, I'm really loving this artwork here. One of the great things about this book is it has spawned some amazing, iconic, memorable artwork over whatever it is, 100 years time. When was this book first published? I don't know. I should know these things. But it has spawned some amazing artwork. And here, you're looking at this picture right here. That'll just tell you, well, book and all of the movies, they are not the same. But then we got Herbert George Wells, a little bit of, there he is, a little story about H.G. Wells, and a little bit about Bill Sienkiewicz, and an appreciation by Guillermo del Toro. So there it is. There is The Island of Dr. Moreau, the Beehive Books edition, and I'm really glad to have this thing in my collection. Now, the problem is I gotta find a place to put it, and those are tough problems. Poor me. But them are problems nonetheless that book collectors have to face. And way it goes, man. Way it goes. Anyway, I thank you for your time. I do truly appreciate it. Please consider subscribing to the channel. My boys, I got 2 young boys, and they are always interested to know what that number is. And when that number is higher than they thought it was, or they remembered it being, they always say, "Good job, Dad." Like they're humoring me, but they're proud of that number. Anyway, I can think of no more lies to tell. Thank you for your time. I do truly appreciate it. And c'est la vie, baby. Do-do. Gotta get this thing back in the box. Put the book back in the box. And don't mess it up. Those are sometimes challenges. But I got a solution for that too. You put the book in the box. There you go. Where do I put this book? You know what? I just stick it somewhere for now. Just put it somewhere, you know? Worry about those problems later on. Leave them for somebody else. Just find a place to put it. How about this? Put it up here. These are right between Robert McKibben and Novelizations. Somewhere between literature and novelizations.